Okay, let's go to Al Simpson right away here, and thanks for joining us here on SportsCage, Al. And the first question I wanted to ask you was, what is Living Skies Sports, and how does it differ from Queen City Sports and Entertainment?
So I'll start with, well, thanks for having me on the show, by the way. And Daryl, I like your hat.
I thought you might.
That's right.
If you're on radio, it's a Red Sox hat. Got it brand new for my birthday.
Perfect. And thanks for doing our games. You do a terrific job. To the question, Don, Living Sky Sports and Entertainment is a corporate entity owned solely by myself, put together to just get involved in sports. And it is the entity that I'm using to be a participant in ownership with Sean Semple and Queen City Sports. Queen City Sports is a separate entity that's owned by Sean and his family, and Queen City owns the Regina Pats. So I think your next question will be, well, how do those two come together and mesh with the Red Sox?
So keep going on that then.
So the Red Sox, when the deal closed, will be owned by the Regina Red Sox Baseball Club Limited Partnership. So there'll be two partners. One will be Queen City Sports and Entertainment, which Sean owns, which will be the majority owner of the Regina Red Sox. And the preferred limited partner will be Living Sky Sports and Entertainment, which I own.
Okay. You've made very good sense of that. I understand that.
So, Al, here's what you got to make sense of for the people out there listening is what changes. People that love going to Regina Red Sox at Curry Field, what changes for them?
Well, I mean, nothing changes immediately, that's for sure. I mean, we don't get the transition to occur until October 1st, 2025. That's kind of the year end for the Regina Red Sox nonprofit. So underpinning this all, the main change is that the Red Sox are going from a nonprofit ownership that Gary Brotzel and Bernie Eisworth started many years ago to a private ownership model. Looking down the road, we hope that the private ownership will be able to provide the club the resources that it needs to compete and be a championship ball club in the Western Canadian Baseball League. And not only that, we think private ownership is well positioned to perhaps move a stadium and other developments along
See,
the city of Regina as well.
That's
only
the major
private
piece,
can do it, I think. Now, P3 in Canada, Al, it stands for public-private partnership. And I was wondering if you could explain that and how you think it's possible a P3 program could build a new baseball stadium right near downtown Regina or by downtown Regina.
Yeah. So a P3 private public is kind of a financing and operating vehicle that is pretty standard on now across North America. And a lot of your viewers will get that. If you look up in Edmonton in the Ice District, that's a partnership between Daryl Katz, the city of Edmonton, and I believe the province of Alberta is even involved financially in that P3 undertaking. And that got the rink built and some other things. Same with Lansdowne in Ottawa with the park there. It's private ownership along with the city of Ottawa who did that development. You see the same thing at the Forks in Winnipeg with private ownership and the city of Winnipeg doing that development. The underpinning of it all, really, though, is that many cities are coming to understand that taking on the risk and the capital investment to do these things by themselves is not always the best way to go if you can reduce your risk by bringing in a private partner. So the private partner takes on risks. And if it's done properly, it should really reduce the burden on taxpayers to be minimal and maybe even zero. So that's essentially what the P3 is all about. And so when we looked at, when Sean and I looked at this, we thought, well, the rail yards are just a rare opportunity. You don't see in major cities across Canada 17 acres of land that are essentially dirt that are steps away from that. Well, it's a fact that,
It's true.
what I just said is the added value of being the truth.
Yeah,
Steps
that's
from
right.
Regina's downtown core, and it's just waiting for a purpose. And so our proposal with the city through this private-public partnership is to try and transform that site into something that can revitalize the downtown core. And it's about city building, something that we can be proud of and begin to revitalize the entire area.
Al Simpson's our guest here on the SportsCage on 620 CKRM if you're on radio. Al, the big question now is that Michael Fougere, the former mayor of the city, he this was his wish. This is all he wanted to do, was revitalize that area that you just spoke about. So when the Queen City Sports and Entertainment gets involved in this process, for years it was, well, the Sox are going to build a baseball stadium. No, the Pats are going to build a hockey. What kind of facility are we envisioning down there now? Is it a baseball stadium that's partially covered and in the off season we play hockey in it? What's going on?
Yeah, I for sure the vision is on part of that 17 acres to have a baseball stadium. But then when we looked at it, we thought, well, if you're going to take 7 or 8 acres for a baseball stadium with the other 9 or 10, and we speak, it would be better to have a piece of development where one complements the other, and it's truly, a civic destination, not just for baseball, but for other events. So will the stadium be covered? I doubt it. But
I was being facetious. The $300 million football stadium doesn't have one. I didn't think yours would.
Yeah. Though our competitive disadvantage is weather. No, I think where we can improve things, though, and where the public can get more usage out of the ball stadium would be that, you do simple things like synthetic turf. So now you've extended your shoulder seasons. You can get on the field in late April. You can play till the end of September. We can't do that at Curry. And so there's benefits to that. But I would envision something in the neighborhood of 2,000 to 3,000 seats, nice synthetic turf, beautiful entrance, maybe a nice little waterfall out front, and then the rest of the development, complementary real estate. And when I say real estate, more plaza space where it becomes a destination that all citizens can use.
Now, I was going to ask you, how many discussions at this point have you had with the mayor and city council, or have you had any yet?
So this, Don, goes back about 4 years ago when discussions began with city council under the previous council and Mayor Sandra Masters. And I attended, and I'm just guessing here, probably a handful of executive committee meetings and a handful of council meetings to begin to answer questions on why we think the baseball stadium at the rail yards would be a great location as sort of a cornerstone piece of infrastructure. More recently, with the current mayor and council, very informal. Sean has talked to them informally. I've talked to the mayor. He attended the Red Sox dinner, so I took every opportunity to talk to him about it. But we'll see where that goes. I think there's a genuine desire to listen, understand, and see how the city of Regina can leverage private investment and get something done down there. At least I hope so.
This is all wonderful stuff, and I do agree that the private ownership, as Don mentioned, will take this team to the next level. The question that most fans out there are going to ask you is, what happens to my ticket price?
Well, I think it's just fair to say that if you have a better venue, more food and beverage options, that there's going to be areas in the stadium, Daryl, that are higher priced than what we have now. But by the same token, Sean and I have talked about this. It absolutely has to be family friendly, and I think we'll look closely at the family friendliness of our competitors, Okotoks Dogs and Sylvan Lake, where they've built new stadiums, and you can still take a family of 4 into those parks for $37, $40. That's very affordable.
See, I had to ask that question gingerly because I want to keep my job as the Red Sox PA announcer, right? I don't want to get uninvited next season.
Al might fire you if you ask him.
Right here on the show live. Let's break some news.
I was going to say, you mentioned Okotoks and Sylvan Lake, Al. Maybe talk about those two franchises because it's sort of like the movie. Build it and they will come there, isn't it?
Very much so. Okotoks was doing what we're trying to do right now in Regina. They were sort of dismissed by the city of Calgary. They went out to Okotoks. They talked to Okotoks. They got a warm welcome, and they built with the help of private investment, the Siemens family. They built a beautiful stadium. And I can tell you that on opening day, Don, in Okotoks, the Dogs had 7,100 people attend their first opening game of this season.
Is that
last season? That's outstanding.
Unbelievable.
They had they regularly attract 4,000 to 5,000 people in Okotoks. You pivot to Sylvan Lake. Sylvan Lake did a P3. Sylvan Lake was somewhat similar to Okotoks. They went to the city of Red Deer. City of Red Deer dismissed them. They went 12 kilometers down the road. Sylvan Lake said, you know what? We're in on this P3 partnership. Sylvan Lake had a master recreation plan, said, we'll give you the land, we'll help you with utilities. The ownership there did the stadium. It seats about 2,000 people. They're sold out every game. It's probably one of the nicest parks in North America. And then I'll go up to Spruce Grove. The club in our league was playing out of Edmonton. They moved 20 kilometers down the road to Spruce Grove. They're building a 3,500 seat brand new ballpark. Hopefully they'll be playing in it sometime in July. And the league is just flourishing with new stadiums and new ownership. And a lot of fans going to these Western Canadian baseball games, not only because the entertainment level is good, but to what Daryl said, it's affordable. You want to go to a pro hockey game or a pro football game. Of course, you're going to pay more because you've got professional athletes, so they have to charge you more, and that's understandable. We don't have professional athletes. We don't have that same kind of payroll, so we should be able to maintain our affordability.
But you got some real talented players. Jackson Searing's worth the price of admission. So is Brady Bye from right out there in White City, Saskatchewan.
Absolutely. I mean, Jackson came from a team, and this is unheard of. You probably know this, Daryl, but your viewers may not. He played on a championship baseball team in the U.S. They went 56-0. They did not lose a baseball game.
He was telling us stories. He was telling us stories about tornadoes as if they were rain clouds. He's like, oh yeah, there's one over there. We just get down to the storm shelter. We wait a couple of minutes. It passes, then we go back on. Yeah. I'm like, what is going on? Can't imagine.
Jackson took a pitch in the face last year. Wouldn't come out of the ball game.
Still played. I was there.
Broke his jawbone and dislocated, I think, or cracked a cheekbone. Was down for 2 or 3 minutes. Went to first, stole second, went out to right field, and then went to the hospital. We couldn't get him out of the game.
You're kidding.
Unreal strong. That's Saskatchewan tough, and he's not even from here.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
No, it's a good quality of baseball.
You just talked about 3 outstanding examples of how the P3 built these parks and how everything is flourishing. And it's almost like, it's like Lloydminster, Saskatchewan / Alberta. At one time, it was about 50-50 in Lloydminster. Now the Alberta side is 5 times the size and a lot nicer and newer. And that's just the facts. Just go to Lloydminster. I was there last week. And it'd be nice to see this province, and particularly the city, for a change. Don't let Alberta lead us constantly and some economic brains. Let's do something smart here, Al.
Yeah, I agree with you, Don. One of the questions that often comes up is, Simpson, why? Or I get anonymous sort of social media stuff. Like, why would you do this, you idiot? Like, we need to solve homelessness. We've got other issues in the city of Regina, and who's going to deny that you don't want to solve homelessness? You'd be idiotic to say that because it's a real issue. But I think what we have to have and put in perspective here is we need to invest in ourselves. We need to grow our tax base to be able to do the homelessness thing and get rid of and eradicate poverty. And at that, I mean, there's no goal line on that, but to be able to offer those sort of social services. I'll give you an example, Don. If you're in Calgary, the city of Calgary builds a bridge. Let's say it's 100 feet over the Bow River. It costs $1.5 million, and there's 1.5 million people. So it's effectively $1 a person to build that bridge. You build that same bridge in Regina for the same cost, 250,000 people, it's $6. They've got a larger tax base. They invest in themselves. Right. The city grows. You have more money for better infrastructure and homelessness. So, yeah, we need to invest in ourselves. And I think the P3 is a way for the city to mitigate the operational costs because the private guys would operate. It's a way to mitigate overruns on construction. It's a way to mitigate maintenance with very little risk and burden on the taxpayer.
That makes so much sense.
I'm just trying to keep my job as a PA announcer for the Red Sox. First pitch, July tomorrow. What 7:05?
Daryl, you were solid when you put the hat on. It was
Thank you. See, there we go. All right, there we go.
Curtis, how much time do we have
Beautiful
left?
brand new Red Sox hat for my birthday.
I'm lost. Okay, I had to check that. You're such a baseball fan, Al. How did that all start for you personally?
Well, I played baseball in Regina in the Kiwanis Boys League with a colleague of yours, Kevin Gallant.
Oh yes.
And our little league team went 33-0. We won the city championship. And
wow.
I just enjoyed.
That's cool.
The Pirates, Kiwanis, and then. Actually, Kevin and I went on and coached the Pirates to a city championship when we were in our, I guess, late 20s. We found that to be a lot of fun. So I just have an affinity for the game, and I enjoy it. And it's different than watching, as you know, football or hockey. It's very social. You can have a conversation and miss 10 minutes of a game and really not miss much.
Yeah, it's the Americans' favorite pastime or whatever it's called. You have one more question at all, Daryl?
I want to know if Don can be the mascot at any one point.
Yeah.
If you have a defibrillator. Yeah.
Go out there and take some pictures with the kids.
Don, I may be speaking out of school here, but weren't you one of the original Gainer the Gopher?
I was, but I'm not applying for the Red Sox mascot job at this time, Al.
Because the resume would be great.
Yeah. By the way, Kevin Gallant always bragged to me that he was a power hitter in baseball. Is he telling the truth?
I'm not going to go there.
Yes. I forgot to text him that you were on today, but we're going to repeat the interview possibly at 5:30. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining us, Al. Very interesting information. I'm sure everybody really appreciated.